What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 72 of the Sasha T Show. Another episode of Sports Card Talk. So I'm excited to have both Shaya and Michael back on the show today. Shaya, if you want to go first, since you're the young gun, give a little background of yourself and when you got into cards. That would be really cool.
So I'm 16, about to turn 17 in Los Angeles, California. I got into cards roughly, I would say 10 years ago. Collected for fun for a couple of years, quit for a couple of years, picked it up in middle school, late middle school, early high school once again. And the show has been on the road since then.
Nice. What about you, Michael?
Hey guys, well first of all, thanks for having me on again, Sasha. My name is Coleman Cards on Instagram. I've been collecting on and off since I was 10 years old back in 1997, and now I'm doing it full time at 33 and loving every moment of it.
That's like the dream for so many people too, is to be able to do it full time. And it's like, and we literally have somebody on here that is actually doing it full time.
You guys could do it too, so I mean, it's not that hard.
Well, the first thing I wanted to go over, and you guys probably saw when you're getting your PSA returns, is like the new box that PSA is now kind of giving you guys with the whole StockX advertisement. I just wanted to get your thoughts on like how you felt about it. Do you think it was a good thing more for PSA, or did kind of StockX get the upper hand with this? What were your kind of first initial thoughts when you saw this?
Go for it, Shai.
Honestly, I didn't have a huge reaction to it initially. I think it's a smart play by StockX. It's just great advertising to one of the biggest grading companies, definitely top two, undoubtedly, between them and BGS. I prefer PSA. So I think it's a great opportunity for StockX. I don't think it has such a big impact on us, but I think it's really helpful for StockX. But I don't have a huge position on the whole StockX on PSA boxes.
Yeah, I guess I would wonder why PSA was down for it, but I'm sure StockX is giving them money or something for it. And then, I guess maybe the way they pitched it was like, you get your slabs back, you sell them, you buy more raw and grade them with us. So I'm guessing that was part of the pitch. And for PSA, it just made sense. And they can make some more money that way. So, yeah, I think it's cool. I wish I had a way to get my name on a PSA box.
It's interesting though, because when you look at it from like a business standpoint, personally, I think StockX really got the upper hand on that. Because like if you're a PSA, like StockX either had to give them a shit ton of money, like for them to do this. Because other than that, why would PSA necessarily, want to? But I think it's a great indicator and sign for like what's to come in the future. I know like a lot of people within the hobby aren't too big of a fan of this. But I think this is really kind of the new norm that we'll be seeing, and StockX becoming a bigger and bigger player. Because I think for us, especially when we're selling cards, like it's cool to know that you can go on StockX and literally just like see what somebody's willing to pay for it. I mean, yeah, there's fees, but I mean, if you're trying to cash out on stuff, it's a pretty simple way to do it, and you don't have to deal with the buyer, right? Which I think is really, really cool.
100%.
But another thing with PSA, how are your kind of return times going? I know like pre-corona, stuff was not coming back fast whatsoever. But what are you kind of noticing with PSA return time so far with the stuff that you've sent in?
Mike, you want me to go or you?
Go for it, man.
So initially, first up, horrendous, I'll tell you. I think I went 1 for 8. I just realized they're dishing out PSA 9s. They have definitely harshened up. I know myself, I used to go 80-90% on PSA subs because I review every card.
Yeah.
And now I've seen people who are around that too, and they're getting like 50-70 at the highest. Yeah. So it's definitely changed. I got a sub back return times wise. I sent a 10-day. It went on Monday. I got it back on Tuesday. So it's a 1-day turnaround time with Mark's cards. Highly recommend. Great turnaround time. I went 1 for 4 though. My silver Zion did cross to a PSA 10. Mike knows the Luka Silver that has PSA 9 3 times, has PSA 9 once again. I'm going to keep trying it. Tatum Silver PSA 9 and a AD Prism Rookie PSA 9.
How many times have you tried to get that Luka Silver into a
The
10?
Silver, this was the third time. I'm going to keep trying.
One closer to a gem.
Yeah.
Because it's not it's not with me right now because I told them to keep it. I'm like, keep it. You're either going to send it back to me and I'm going to send it back to you, or you can just keep it.
Yeah.
So I told them to keep it. It's not off center. The corner's good. There's nothing wrong with the surface. I don't know why it's PSA 9. I'm just going to keep sending it. They can just keep on taking the $40 or whatever it is. I'll wait until it's a 3K card.
Yeah.
What about you, Sasha? How's your PSA return times doing, and any insights as far as what you're getting back and how they're grading, or anything that you're thinking of that might be going on down at PSA?
I got a bunch of cards back like 2 days ago, and I think it was like 68 cards total, and my gem rate was like 53%, which wasn't like the best. But with the cards that, again, like even at like a 50% gem rate, you're still making a good amount of money. And you guys know that I sent in a bunch of Sanchos that I got for very, very cheap before the market kind of went up on it. So that was kind of like the big majority of my sub. But honestly, all local drop-offs have been really, really fast. If you're dropping off your cards to PSA, they're getting it back to you pretty fast. Like 10 days, 5 days, 2 days, even your 20 days are coming back in like 10 days in some cases.
One exception to that is I know a buddy of mine in Florida. He's been having Sniper Manis. He's been having crazy return times on his cards.
Really?
But I was talking to my friend Card Fiend Ali, and he said that he got a PSA sub coming back to him. They put someone else's order in his box, sent it back to PSA. It's been 20 days, and they lost the order. They don't know where the order is. Which is and you should have seen what was in this order. Like Zion PSA 10s left and right, Jaw and Trey PSA 10s left and right, Shea PSA 10s left and right. It was ridiculous.
And they lost his order?
They don't know where it is. It's been 20 days.
That's not good.
That's not good.
Have any of you guys like had orders that gotten lost at PSA?
I feel like I've had order. Oh, we had that one. Mike and I remember the infamous.
Lost.
It pretty much did.
I mean, it got lost in the sense that like
it lost in the system.
Yeah,
it took forever.
But
I would love to. Huh?
You got it back.
Yeah, we got it back. It was a 10-day that took like
4 months.
I want to say like 70 business days.
Did you call them? Did you try calling them?
No.
We all got murdered. All PSA 9s.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Everything.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, hopefully that's not like a reoccurring thing for PSA.
Hopefully not.
That's scary. One thing that we've also seen recently is like, I don't know if it's an Instagram channel that's putting out. They're saying that they're putting out a Kobe documentary. How are you guys kind of feeling about that? Some people are saying, "Oh, Kobe price is going to go up because of this," but to me, it doesn't feel like it's like a true documentary. It seems like just kind of like a lower end type, I don't know, thing. But how do you guys kind of feel about that? And what do you kind of think also about Kobe prices, regardless of this kind of documentary that's coming out?
Mike, you want to go?
Yeah, Shia probably has a good idea of it because you're connected with a lot of the younger kids and stuff, and you guys have a good idea. So yeah, what would you say?
I don't think it's gonna have that big of an effect. People were talking about The Last Dance like before it came out for a while. Big hype. People were making articles, this and that. It's one of the big. It's gonna be Jordan's documentary. It's gonna be the one people go and watch when they want to go and figure out all about the Bulls and Jordan and what they did.
Yeah.
This Kobe doc is not about that. Kobe made his own movie, which I watched, very good, but that's not the documentary. I think the documentary is too soon. I think they made it a little too
Like, where
early.
are they getting the tape from?
I have no idea. But I know the family does not approve of said documentary, and it's not on TV. It's on YouTube only and one other platform, which I think is kind of sketchy.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
gotcha. That's interesting. I mean, like, because with the Jordan doc, they really focused on the '96 Bulls, right? Like that year. So, like, I'm wondering how they're, or like, what are they focusing on? Like, is it going to be like his whole lifetime with the Lakers? Is it going to be like one specific year? Like, is it going to be um, his last year, with the Lakers? So there's a lot of like question marks. But I think you guys agree with this too. I don't think it's going to be like a, the Jordan doc um, with that effect because it just isn't like it's not like a big company or show that's like doing this, right? It's like seems very lower end.
Right. It's not on ESPN or something. It's on like
It's gonna be on YouTube.
YouTube and one
is that
other
what it's on
platform.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can't be the same cultural, tidal wave that the Last Dance was.
Yeah. Well, how do you guys feel about like Kobe prices right now? I know they've gone up recently, but it still seems to me like there's so many deals with Kobe because Kobe long term plays out so well. He's an icon. I mean, in my opinion, he's the best player of all time, but I know for most, he's like in the top 10 range. So how are you feeling about Kobe prices? Are you guys still looking to pick him up right now?
I absolutely am. I'm looking for honestly any Kobe's I can find that I can get a good price on. That I think if they're raw, if they're gradable, yeah, I'm just high on Kobe stuff. I just think there's a lot of value there, but prices are sky high. So Shia could probably weigh in and give some different viewpoints and stuff like that. I just like Kobe.
Agreed. I like Kobe a lot as a long-term investment. I don't have too much of his. I think you guys definitely have more than I do. I'm looking to pick up some for the long term. I don't think this will be the doc that drives his prices up. I think over the course of time, it'll go up. And I think in a couple of years, there will be another documentary similar to the Jordan documentary, maybe about his time with Shaq and after Shaq and all that.
Yeah.
Um, so I think he's great long term, but I don't think this is the doc to do it.
All right, we're back. Next topic we can go over, guys, is the NBA returning July 30th. So it's coming up, literally like a couple weeks away. How are you feeling with the whole like NBA players going into a bubble in Florida? Do you think there's a chance that it doesn't happen with kind of all these kind of cases with coronavirus going up? I know there's news yesterday that somebody in the Clippers, I don't know if it was a player or like a staff member, got the virus and they shut down their like facilities. So like, are you kind of going into this thinking, all right, like I'm 90% sure that this whole bubble and NBA playoffs will be back, or do you still have like a little bit of concerns?
I had a lot of concerns a couple of weeks ago, actually. Like the start of June, I was actually pretty concerned because my buddy Retro Basketball Breaks brought it up, and he was really, getting me thinking about it and stuff. And so, it got the seed planted with me thinking about it. And then the more I saw, the more it looked like that's where it was heading based off cases rising and stuff like that. But it really sounds like that they have, a lot of plans in place and that they're expecting to get a lot of cases. They just came out and said that I think 27 players have tested positive since they announced that they're going to restart the season. So, we're not all tripping out like it was when Rudy Gobert got tested positive. I mean, that shut down the NBA. Now it's 27 players are tested positive and everyone's just like, whatever. So it's hard for me to say, but I can definitely tell you that the prices have still not factored in the fact that the season could get canceled. They have not. So.
How are you feeling, Shy, about everything going on?
If the season doesn't happen, it's not going to be pretty. Prices are going up. People are betting on the season happening, and if it doesn't happen, a lot of people are going to be hurting. I personally think it's going to happen. I think there's way too much money involved, especially with this season on the line, with the whole Kobe's passing and LeBron on the Lakers and this and that and Giannis and all of that, Zion's big playoff berth or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I think there's way too much money. I think it may get pushed back, maybe. I don't know, but I think it will happen. Giannis even said like this one should stand out because this will be one of the most difficult championships to ever earn. So I think it will happen. I think if it doesn't, it'll be very bad. But me personally, I haven't been really selling in the chance that it does, because I think it most likely will. And especially with the cards that I have, I think they're holds. You could sell them. I could make a profit, but I don't think it's the right time. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not expecting it to be canceled, but I think it could. But I think that's unlikely.
Are you guys both like, I'm kind of under the connotation that once they get into that like bubble, they're actually safer than being anywhere else in a way, just because like I feel like Adam Silver has like that whole area like on lock with like he knows like who's going to be in there, and they're like, and you're essentially all going to be in one place. There's not like new people coming in to spread a virus or anything like that. So like I'm kind of thinking, okay, once they're there, like we're good. Even if cases pop up, they have like plans in place for that. I don't know if that's kind of what you're thinking as well. But like,
what about though when all these teams just get bounced out after 8 exhibition games or first round of the playoffs and teams are just dropping off like flies, even if the season does resume?
do they still have to stay in that bubble if they lose, or like do they get to go home?
I think they get to go home if they want to. They can't come back though, right?
I don't know. Like I actually never even thought about that.
I'm pretty sure they can leave because there's nothing that's going to harm the bubble by them leaving.
The players can go to other like games though. Like, so that's actually going to be kind of cool. Like if you're if there's like a Lakers Clippers game and you see Giannis on the sidelines and there's only going to be like probably like a few players on the sidelines, right? Because there's no fans. So
right.
That might be really interesting. And then like if you have like commentators and those people doing interviews with those guys while the games are going on, I think that's really cool. But I don't know how you guys feel about that. Like it might be more, I'm not saying more entertaining than like a regular game, but it's gonna be different.
100%.
Here's the next question. And you guys might know and might not. Are families allowed to go into the bubble at some point?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Or stay
maybe
because Kemba said that I'm single, I have no kids, this thing works perfect for me. He said something like that. So I think it's just players that they're going to work. I think that's it.
Yeah, I'd say that's right. That's correct. They're not taking any chances.
I would say this though. I think basketball is doing it. Like Adam Silver, I think has done a fantastic job with how he coordinated this. Like, because for baseball, which I don't get, they're literally gonna play in their own stadiums, which to me doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you just do it like spring training style? Have them all in Arizona or all in Florida. All your fields are a couple of minutes away and do it like that. Like, why are you traveling to? I don't know. It doesn't make.
I'm getting out of baseball right now. I don't understand it well enough. I don't like watching baseball. There's so much money in it. It's ridiculous, but I don't understand it. And this whole restart, especially with like prospects, it's very risky. What's going to happen? If like guys like Trout, okay, Trout's going to play. Like it's like, but like I'm talking about the younger guys that you're betting on being the next.
You said Trout might not play because his wife's pregnant.
Right.
Oh, maybe not even Trout, and that'll not be good.
And I know his prices, they went up a lot, but I think they're starting to like come down a little.
They recovered a little bit, but they're still higher than they.
Yeah. So yeah, baseball is interesting to say the least. Again, I just don't get why they wouldn't have done it spring training style.
Because I don't think prospects. I know a lot of people because they're doing like this pool thing with prospects. I guess
you can bring them up like.
It's this weird thing with prospects, but most prospects aren't gonna play. I don't think. There's like a certain it's like 60 players or whatever. They're doing this thing. I'm not.
That are in the minors and some of them got cut because they couldn't pay them. Like even though they didn't, all their money comes from their signing bonus, but like still, like they got cut because minor league baseball is essentially like the money in it is very, very little.
Yeah.
So I mean, interesting to see with baseball, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Like, how do their games come out? They're probably gonna, like, just off of thinking, like, if they're traveling more, there's probably going to be more cases of corona. How are they going to deal with that? Like, there's so many factors to come into play. But that's why I like the bubble thing with basketball.
Yeah.
We did see a picture come out yesterday, which I know you guys saw, of Zion Williamson looking shredded, like looking just like a straight tank. And then we saw prices. Did you guys see also prices go up? Because I saw prices go up like right after that picture came out. How are you feeling about Zion health-wise going into the bubble, right? And then also, how are you feeling about his card market going into the bubble? And also, like, do you think that they can make the playoffs?
Mike, you want to go or me?
Sure. I think going into the bubble and going into the playoffs, I think the Pelicans they got to have the best Vegas odds to get the 8th seed. I don't know what it looks like, but they would be my bet. And I would say Zion stuff is going to continue to rise for a couple of reasons. One, as people, like to conjecture, the NBA wants the Pelicans to play the Lakers. 2, the Pelicans have the easiest schedule out of that 8 games. 3, the play-in tournament works directly in favor of the Pelicans to get in, because all they'd have to do is stay within a couple of games of the Grizzlies. They get awarded the play-in chance to play the Grizzlies if those are the 2 teams that are working out for the 8 and 9 seed. Then all they have to do is beat the Grizzlies twice, which they could totally do with matchups and stuff.
Yeah.
And then also they're the 8th seed. And then also we haven't seen Zion without a minute restriction. And a lot of these points are, what was brought up by Summertime Cards on the Conversations with Chris podcast.
Yeah.
And, he made some really valid points. I mean, one, because he watches basketball for a living, but like we haven't seen, full out Zion yet without a minute restriction. And now he's allegedly losing some weight and putting on more muscle. And he's hungry to go prove himself. And he's going to get a stage against LeBron, perhaps. I mean, we're going to see Zion stuff going up. And, at $500 for a PSA 10, now they're up to about 600 now. They started out at what, 800? So
crazy.
They could jump back up there real quick.
Yeah. Because people are willing to pay that much. They were willing to pay that much, right? So
yeah,
it's what about you, Shaya?
Oh yeah, Zion looks jacked. That's pretty much the end of the story. I have one Zion. I'm gonna buy more.
Yeah.
Lot of potential going there. Do I think they'll win the playoffs? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I think there's be a lot of hype going into it. He's very hyped up. People have been waiting for his arrival for a long time. Very exciting to watch. I definitely think he's on the rise, but I would also note the other players that maybe the picture hasn't come out yet. I've heard Harden and Kawhi have both been in the gym this entire time. And I heard Harden lost a lot of weight as well. So the picture hasn't come out yet, but you never know. So I'm sure Zion isn't the only one that's been in the gym. So I would probably be on the lookout for more pictures of guys that look jacked.
But Zion looks, with that picture, he looks a lot like what he looked like last year with Duke. Like, just way more lean, more muscle.
Yeah, he looked burly at the beginning of the season. He
just looked big, right? Like,
yeah, very big. But now he looks more, maybe a little bit faster, because strength is not going to be a problem for him. It's speed. He's already explosive. It's just speed and stamina.
And you think about the Pelicans, they have a deep team. Like, Brandon is an all-star. Like, that can Brandon Ingram can just ball. Like, he can hoop. Like, I'm taking, this is just me, but I'm taking Brandon Ingram over Ben Simmons all day in my head. That's just me. But
yeah.
I mean, like, I'm taking the guy that can shoot, that can go off the dribble, that can still pass, right? That's like 6'11" with like a huge wingspan. Like, I like that over a guy that can't shoot and can just pass and rebound.
Yeah, but Simmons' defense is a lot better than Ingram's.
Yeah, but like
Simmons will lock up.
Defense in today's NBA is so subjective, dude. Trae Young, zero defense.
Yeah,
Kawhi
I gotta
Leonard.
say, I would take Ingram just because Ingram also has the chip on his shoulder too.
Yeah.
About the Lakers trade. So,
true.
he's got a lot to prove and everything. And now with Zion there, it's all about Zion. He's got a lot to prove, whereas Simmons is kind of just like,
Golden boy.
exactly. So I would probably lean towards Ingram on that one too, I guess.
If the Pelicans somehow were able to sneak into the eighth seed, what would you think would happen when they face the Lakers?
Who's the matchup is Lakers?
If it was Lakers versus Pelicans first round, what do you think?
Maybe they'll get a game.
One game.
Maybe two.
I'll say hot take that will happen for sure, that it will be Lakers Pelicans. That's my hot take, only because that is absolute must-watch TV. You're talking about Zion versus LeBron, and you're talking about all those guys from the AD trade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people forget about that too, because it's Ingram, it's Lonzo, it's Josh Hart. That's essentially they got that for AD, right? So that's a very sneaky storyline that's right there with the whole Zion and LeBron thing.
There's gonna be fights.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of trash talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what?
Lonzo
is sneaky. When Lonzo was in LA, I wasn't too big of a fan, but I watched him play a lot when he got on the Pelicans, and he's able to shoot the three very well now. People think he still can't shoot. He can shoot. He's shooting 37% from three. He can play top-notch defense, right? Which Shai knows that Shai loves defense. So Lonzo can play some great D. He can pass the ball, and it's really, as a point guard for Zion, you want literally Lonzo Ball, the guy that will just feed him the ball at good places, right? So I think Lonzo is sneaky too.
Speaking of trash talk, I know news came out the other day. They said they may bleep or do something, or there'll be a delay. They said they're thinking about making a delay to cut out trash talk.
Because you'll hear so many cuss words?
Yeah, because of the whole – and I think they shouldn't cut it out. I think it would be hilarious to hear everything, the competitive.
It's so interesting.
I think it'd be so entertaining. Maybe make it so there's two different channels, one that's cut, one that's uncut.
Yeah.
Just make it so that if you don't want to hear
it. One TV 14, one mature audience. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And I think that would be super – because before you could hear some – at the free throw line or whatever it is, but you don't get to hear it constantly, what they say.
Absolutely. And to hear them chirping at the refs?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you just see this constantly.
I feel like
NBA just dropping F-bombs on refs.
Well, don't you think, some NBA players probably say, the funniest shit?
Oh, yeah.
If J.R. Smith was mic'd up the whole game, I feel like he just says some funny shit. I don't know.
There's a lot of guys that I think would. There's a lot of guys that I think would.
Yeah. Dwight Howard. Saying dumb stuff.
How are you guys? I want to mention this because you guys, we have a couple, I think all three of us are Luka fans here. How are you kind of feeling about Luka heading into the bubble? I know there were some storylines that he was he wasn't as in shape as people thought he would be, and then there's a picture that came out that again he looked in pretty good shape. So how are you kind of feeling? I know Mark Cuban is really excited. I saw an article with him saying that he thinks Luka's gonna ball out. But what do you guys kind of think? And also his PSA 10. I know we were talking about it earlier before we started recording, but I think his PSA 10 is almost doing there's bids last night at 800. Which was crazy to see. So, how are you also feeling about his market heading into this bubble?
Mike, go. All right,
go. Go for it. Yeah, are you going?
All right, yeah, I'll go. I don't care. I think Luka's gonna ball in the playoffs. I think it'll come down to wins. I think he'll put up the stat lines. I don't think that's a question.
Yeah,
I think he'll put up the stats, no, undoubtedly. I'm not aware of his possible matchups, but I'm currently, I would say, holding Luka. I think his PSA 10s are pretty high, especially when I bought him, and I didn't buy him that early. I bought him around when there were 5. 800, okay, you could possibly, but I think they'll reach 1,000. I know we talked about this a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
850 is kind of a gamble. It's kind of right up there. It's kind of more of a risk. It's all up to you. I definitely think he's a very good hold. I would highly suggest not selling him. I think that would be a horrible move. I think there's a chance they could go pretty far. I think it's unlikely. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, he'll put up the stat lines. I think we will see his PSA 10s hit 1,000. And yeah.
I want to say one thing on that real quick. So the base is going up. We know the silvers are going up. There was 3,400 sales on silvers today. But I want to say one thing about Luka getting into the playoffs. First off, we thought there was a chance that we'd see Luka in the playoffs last year, his rookie year in 2018-19. Now at the trade deadline, Cuban traded the entire starting lineup sans Luka.
Yeah.
So literally 4 of the starters were traded to New York to get Porzingis, who was injured at the time. So they were doing really good. They were on that bubble of like 8th seed, contending for the 8th seed. And Cuban blew it up to get Porzingis. And in turn, basically said, we are now tanking, right?
Yeah.
With those scraps that they got from New York and with the remainder of the team, Luka was taking that team, playing so well, they were winning games to where Luka miraculously started getting all these injuries and would have to be on the bench, and they started losing games and started finally, losing enough games to where they got a good pick, a good lottery pick.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like Luka, like we haven't seen him in the playoffs yet. And like the Mavericks, even without Luka, are really good. Like they beat the Bucks when the Bucks were on that crazy tear. So like you guys have probably heard me say it a million times, but like that Maverick squad with Luka in the playoffs, I think they are such a wild card to go super deep and maybe even make a Western Conference Finals run. It's scary to me. Like it's scary how good that team is and how good Luka is and what he comes from, the pedigree he comes from. So I would not count him out. And people want to talk about Giannis, want to talk about Zion. Those guys are physically gifted. I get it. But Luka beats people with his mind. And if you can do that, like you can beat anybody, no matter how experienced they are, no matter how strong they are. Like we saw it last year. He was embarrassing 28-year-old men as a 19-year-old kid. And he did it this year on steroids. So now he's going to be in the playoffs. I don't care how grizzled these veterans are. Luka is probably going to dominate them because he can outsmart them and he knows how to make the right play every single time. And I don't know. That's my crazy Luka rant, but I just think they're going to be scary, man. Real scary.
100% agree with you, dude. Like Luka is scary. We haven't seen him in the playoffs, like you mentioned. And nobody's really talking about Porzingis yet, but if he does come back healthy and he can like be the Porzingis of New York, like that's scary. Like, and I know Porzingis is beefed up too. He's got like a good amount of muscle on him too. So that's like a scary duo. If I'm the Clippers or the Lakers or whoever, I don't want to be facing them in the first round.
Nope.
Like that, I just don't. Like Luka by himself just makes so many smart decisions on the court. It's scary. So
but if I were the Mavericks, I think I would rather play the Lakers than the Clippers.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
If you put Kawhi on Luka, you saw what Kawhi did with Giannis.
No,
And Kawhi is I'm not saying he'll shut down Luka, but he'll be able to shut down Luka more than anyone on the.
Right now, if everything stayed the same, it would be Clippers versus Mavs. If everything stayed the same, which I think there's going to be a lot of movement in the records and stuff. But if everything did stay the same, it would be Clippers versus Mavs.
And that'll be a good series. I think that'll be very entertaining.
You know how many people would be glued to the TV for that series?
I will personally be glued.
And it's funny because we haven't seen this. We've seen this market without, actual sports. Now we're actually going to see this market with X more people in it while sports are going on. So I'm thinking that like there's going to be a lot of fluctuation in prices from night to night we might be seeing because we really haven't pre-corona, there were still a lot of people in the hobby and within it. But just think about how many more people came after, right? And how many people are in it now when Luka prices are at 800. Imagine what it's going to be when Luka puts a triple double win over the Clippers or whatever, or like let's say Kawhi has a triple double and they get into the second, third round Western Conference Finals. We really haven't seen what's going to go on with this market when actual playoffs are going to be played. Like, it's going to be insane to see.
Yeah. So question for you guys. I know you guys definitely have Luka stashes, and that's not even a question. Both of you guys, I know you guys do. Are you guys buying him or are you guys just holding him? Guys, I know you guys aren't selling him, to my knowledge.
Me and Sasha are kind of diametrically opposed with our Luka stashes. Because
no.
I only have like 3 Luka cards that I'm holding and stashing, and it's only because I'll never see him again if I sell him.
But it's like crazy Luka cards.
Yeah, that's on some other level.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. But and then Sasha, you have more of the stock certificate type.
Yeah, but if like for the people who don't know, can you mention just like the couple that you do have?
The one.
Give me a second. Talk about yours, Sasha. I'll be right back.
So me and Coleman have a very different strategy with Luka's. I'm more of like base PSA 10, because I know it's liquid, right? I can put it for sale and somebody will buy it right away. So I think I have like 25 of those. I did at one point have up to like 40 almost, but now I'm at 25, which I think still
25
is a good little stash. But and again, my whole thing with that is I know they're liquid and I can sell them and somebody will buy them. Coleman, it got like the top
king, the king of the kings.
He got the big boy cards. So
what's funny is they're not even like the biggest boy cards, but for me they are, right? So I got the Prism Gold out of 10.
That's fucking crazy.
But check this out. I think this is the only 9. They're all 9.5s and PSA 10s. There's 3 PSA 10s and I think like 6 9.5s. So I have the only gold.
All have been pulled.
I think so. There might be one left, but if there is, I don't know where it is.
In the box.
It could be, but based off my population report data, it looks like they all might be pulled. There's no way to tell for sure, unless we knew
all those cross.
Well, one cross for sure, a 9.5 cross to a 10, but there's 2 BGS 9s, 6 BGS 9.5s, and 3 PSA 10s. So that's 11 cards.
Essentially, unless
you don't know,
unless somebody cracked and then
unless like 3 people cracked and resubbed, and there's 2 more. Like,
9.5 cross to a 10, so we know that there's actually only 10 cards, right?
Yeah. Good.
But there could have also been a BGS 9 that bumped to a 9.5. There could have been another 9.5 that crossed to a 10, which would leave their 1 in the boxes still, or raw. But I doubt it's raw. All right, so I got this one, and I say, because the PSA 10 is the investor grade, but to have one is pretty dope.
Are you ever going to try to bump that to a 9.5?
Yeah, once I, feel comfortable and make a Dallas trip and stuff, I just don't really want to send it. I don't really want to put it in anybody else's hands. I'll do it on my own time and stuff.
Gotcha.
And then I got an NT, but again, like this isn't even the true NT, right? So there's 99 of the true NT.
Stuff you found in the middle of your peanut butter jelly sandwich while you're making it, yeah.
This is the horizontal. I really like the horizontal out of 49. I like the patch. I think it's sick. And then I got the this is one that's starting to catch on, is the Star Swatch Signatures Flawless. Gold out of 10, number 7 out of 10, which is pretty cool. But those are my 3 big Lukas, and then everything else is just as soon as I get it, I usually just move it so I can keep my cash resources up.
So I want to talk about with Coleman, with you, since you're essentially almost like a dealer in a way, right? Was that what you would say, like just a dealer?
Yeah, I'd be classified as a dealer, even though I'm a collector too. So I'm a collector dealer, but I'd be classified as a dealer.
You collect T-Mac, right? That's like your guy. Yeah.
Correct.
And then, so like for you, as a dealer, you have to kind of have that cash flow coming in. So are there cards, like with the Luka base PSA 10s, all right, I'm buying this, I'm going to flip this and keep working it that way? to be able to like spend money on your kind of collection? Like, is that kind of a thought that comes into mind?
So like, say it again.
I think he's
Say it one
asking,
more
do
time.
you do certain things to fund T-Mac cards?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I just bought another T-Mac Star Rubies rookie card, which is at a 50, super rare. I just bought another one for 1,400 on eBay a couple days ago, but only because the Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10 in 2018 was worth 400, which now it's worth 4,000. Whereas the Star Rubies I bought for 1,500 in 2018, and now I just bought one for 1,400. So to me, I'm like, that makes no sense. So I'll buy another T-Mac card because it's an amazing deal. But I'm not really paying through the teeth for a T-Mac card just because,
Yeah.
it's not a great investment and stuff like that. So when I do make a splurge on one, it's because I think I'm getting an amazing deal.
Gotcha. And then for those Lucas that you had, at what point are you like, is that like a super, super long term hold? 10, 20?
These are all long-term holds. These are all like, this is like my 2007 KD stuff that I wish I would have held on to. Like I'm holding on to this for like 10 or 15 years. This is my Luka bet.
Man.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So then like all like the other like base and silvers you come in, those are kind of the flips.
Those are movable.
Movable.
Yes.
Movable. Gotcha.
Those are movable. 100%.
Speaking of KD, which you mentioned, we did see the market kind of go up a bit recently. I know Gary posted about it, I think a week, 2 weeks ago, with like Devin Booker's and I forgot what
Shaq?
there's Shaq, I
It was
think.
like vintage, something
Vince
vintage.
Carter.
Um,
Vince Carter, SP Authentic, Shaq, Beam Team, Kevin Durant, White Tops, Devin Booker Prism.
Gotcha. I know, like within the hobby and us just talking, we've always said KD is a good essential buy if you're willing to hold it. I don't know. I don't know if Shia was with that.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. But are you still under that thought process? I know the whites gone up to like 750, almost 800. But it seems like the chromes and some other cards, there's still deals to be had. So are you guys still looking for KD? Probably Shia is steering away from that. But what about you, Coleman?
I'm still looking for KD. I'm just trying to find deals on it and everything. And because of that post that Gary Vee made, like the market spiked a little bit. All of a sudden, the KD Refractor BGS 9.5 was #1 on Card Ladder, which to me is not a great time to buy it. So and sure enough, we saw a PSA 10 get binned at 8K for the refractor, and now we're seeing sales around 7,600, 7,300, 7,400. So we're seeing that soften up a little bit, and so I'm looking, but again, I mean, I just think there's a little bit of time with KD. The only problem would be is if all of a sudden KD out of nowhere decides he wants to play in Orlando, and then we would see an absolute surge, and then I'd be SOL. But I have enough KDs to where I feel comfortable waiting around trying to look for deals. But I think KD is a good thing to buy if you can afford to hold it.
Shia, well, what are your
I'm
views?
the opposite. I'm the complete opposite. I have personally missed the train on KD. I think the train is already on the tracks. It is going at full speed. I think it's a little too late. People have been speculating about KD for, I don't remember, like 6 months, maybe longer. I remember I got offered like a refractor 9.5 or something for like 1,500 or something. I asked Mike. He was like, yeah, it's a good deal. It's all up to you. And I ended up not taking it. No regrets. It obviously went up a lot more than what it was. I personally think the train has passed. I think there are other deals to be made.
You think essentially there's better deals out there than KD?
I think so. I think you can make more money with other players out there. And I think, honestly, you could possibly make some money with KD as it is. But I think the train has already gone. I think you'd be kind of chasing, in my opinion, if you were to hop on now. If you already had something before, then it's all up to you. You can sell, buy, hold. I don't know. But I think as of right now, I think it's kind of the same thing with Luka with the PSA 10s. I don't think it'll surge too much past 1,000. I think it will hit 1,000, but I think like considering they're at like 500 like 4 weeks ago, I think you'd be kind of chasing. I think there's still some room, but I think it's still a little chase.
Let me ask you though, if Luka does hit 1,000, are you a seller?
Oh,
I think
that's
there's a
tough.
lot of people that are sellers. I was gonna say I think there's a lot of people that are sellers at 1,000, just like there's a lot of people that are sellers of LeBron TC 10 at 10,000.
Yeah, I mean,
But go ahead, Shania. Sorry.
have two LeBron TC10s, and it's like 10 grand's a lot of money. Like, so, and
Okay,
a lot of people are thinking like that, where it's like, dude, I'll take, I bought it for 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is,
yeah.
10 grand. Like, okay, like, so
I was planning on selling my Kawhis when they hit 2, and they've hit 2. So now I'm not selling my Kawhis yet.
I think we're getting to a point, right, where like it's almost getting like in our heads, it's like crazy some of these price points, right?
yeah.
But what point is it where it's like we really start, I mean, you always have to have cash flow where you're cashing out on stuff, but at what point is it like where it's like, damn, like if should I cash out on a lot of these things, right? And I think that's a question that a lot of people are having.
Yeah.
Like every time I cash out, prices go up. But at the same time, it's like you're making a 3, 4, 5x return. Like it's insane,
Yeah.
these numbers, right?
So the thing that I look at is, especially like, let's say I were to sell my Kawhi right now for 2K, what would I go and buy?
Yeah.
I still think Kawhi is one of the best investments as it is right now.
Yeah.
I still think the train has left the station, but I still think it's still relatively early. I was talking to somebody, their prediction is they think this card will hit 4K in November by the beginning of next season.
Interesting.
I don't think I think it could. I don't think it's a guarantee by any means, but I definitely think he's too cheap. When I am selling something, I think about what would I buy. So I think that's what I'll kind of do with Luka. Because there's only a certain amount of people that you're gonna buy in the playoffs. Notably, Giannis, LeBron, Luka, and Kawhi. I think those are the main 4. The four-headed. Oh, and Zion. I'm gonna throw Zion in there.
But to your Kawhi point, if you think about it, LeBron, Kawhi, and Giannis all have essentially the same chance to be NBA champions. Would you say that?
Yeah.
They all have about a 33% chance, whatever it is. Like I think that's fair to say, right?
Yeah.
So like when you see Kawhi prices at what is it? It's at 2, 2, 2,
2.
right?
2.
Kawhi's at 2. Giannis is at 3.
3.
LeBron's at 10.
10.
So in terms of value, it's like, well, Kawhi's got 2 rings. LeBron's got 3. Giannis is 0. If Kawhi wins one more ring this year, that's 3 rings. It's the same as LeBron. His price is at 2. What happens when he wins a ring? Like, in terms of value, isn't that almost the best deal?
I personally think he is. I was talking to my friend Kartfi and Ali, and we were talking about the LeBron Chromes as well. And I was telling him, I'm like, the LeBron Chrome 9.5s, in my eyes, are way too cheap. I believe they're at 5K, and the PSA 10s are at 10. Are at 10K.
Yeah.
In my eyes, the 9.5 should not be half of the PSA 10. I just don't see it like that. I think it should be significantly less, but I think a half is kind of ridiculous in my eyes. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I was talking to him about that.
Coleman, you can, if you want to jump in.
I think 9.5s are pretty fairly priced at 5K because when you think of 9.5s with 9 centering, or min gems 9 centering, I mean it's basically just a PSA 9. So I mean I think at 5K you're pretty good. I mean the quad 9.5s, the true gem pluses, those are going what 7, 8K. I've seen one do 9K. So I feel like the 9.5s have kind of caught up to the 10. And, the 10 is the investor caliber card. Nobody wants a 9.5. So the fact that 9.5, I mean, what was a 9.5? 9.5 before COVID was worth 2K.
Yeah.
So now it's worth 5K. So, I think they've done fairly well. And I think that market has kind of figured itself out pretty well.
Makes sense. And like you mentioned, the True Gem Plus is now doing like 9. Or isn't it? It's doing like 9K right now. The True Gem Plus for LeBron.
True Gem Plus, I saw one do 9,500 bin.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think, but when we think about LeBron too, like, if he does win a chip, what happens to that card, a PSA 10?
20K. I mean, I don't know, 15K for sure. But I mean, like, then does it do 15K and then settle back down to 13 or 14? It's going to be more than 10K. That's for sure. We know
Yeah,
that.
agreed.
And then, okay, so then we got Giannis too. Giannis is at his Prism rookie PSA 10s at 3K. I don't think the Bucks have enough to win a chip. I just don't. They don't have like a good second star. And
Agreed. I'm on that same train.
seeing that you need that in order to win a ring, especially you're a guy who hasn't won yet or hasn't even gotten to the finals yet. So if he's at 3K, what happens? Because I feel like a lot of that, a lot of that price point at 3K, that price point is embedded with the whole notion that he will win a chip, I think. So like, what happens if he doesn't?
Yeah, I think that price point is kind of embedded in people hoping that he'll get that 3-point shot and then he'll dominate the league. I think that's what a lot of people are hoping for. I don't think he'll win a chip, and I don't know how much higher his PSA 10s can go than 3. What do you guys think it'll go if he wins? I have no idea. Maybe 4. I don't know if he'll go higher than 4.
I think they're 30. I think they're 30. I think they're 3,500 before the season starts. And then if they win the chip, 5K, easy.
So anyone who wins the chip, so let's just go buy one of each. We'll win either way.
That's what I'm saying though. If you buy one of each, the one that wins, you're only gonna, that's the safest way to do it. Buy one of each. Safest way to do it.
Yeah.
Unless Rockets win.
Exactly. The only thing that I haven't bought is Giannis.
Same.
I bought my first Kawhi card like a couple weeks ago when we were talking about it. I bought a 9.5. It's actually at PSA right now for a cross, and I bought that for it was a true gem, and I bought it for $700. So like, I was like, fuck, if it gets a 10, like that's money. But like, for Giannis, like for me in my head, it's like, and I'm a Laker fan too, so I might be a little biased, right? But at 3K already, like, yeah, if he wins a chip, sure, like that's money. But like, I just don't think they have enough.
So we're talking about this in the group chat. One of our guys, he got offered. He has a Zion Silver PSA 10, and the guy said, "No, he has the Giannis PSA 10." And the guy said, "Give me 150 with the Giannis PSA 10 for the Zion." So would you guys prefer the Zion Silver PSA 10 or the Giannis base PSA 10?
For what?
Zion Silver.
Which one would you rather have? Zion Silver PSA 10 or Giannis base PSA 10?
Zion Silver all day.
Fuck, I would actually go Giannis on that.
Ooh, we are tied. We're split.
All right, what's your reasoning, Sash?
Giannis for me, I think honestly they're both liquid. So like, but for me, Giannis is a little bit safer.
I think Zion is more liquid actually than Giannis. I think you can move a Zion Silver faster than you can move a Giannis base PSA 10.
Are Zion Silver PSA 10s at 3K?
30. I saw one on somebody was selling it for 3,200 today.
Really? That's interesting.
Through Instagram, so it's probably more on eBay.
That means that okay, but let's think about it. Luka Silver PSA 10s are doing 32, 33,
34.
Okay, and then his base is going for 800, let's say, right? Let's just say 800 based off of yesterday's comps. What is Zion's base PSA 10 going for?
6 now. 6 as of today. There are 500 yesterday in the morning.
If you could,
Pop is 650 Zion Silvers, 16 to 1700 Luka Silvers, right? So
if you can find a Zion base, I think for 550, 600, like off of like private, like direct, that might be a deal if you're looking at the silvers, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the base is going to move with the silver.
Base will jump up 2x.
I'm actually looking to pick up some. I'm not going to say which ones, but I'm looking to pick up.
Silver. Yeah, that silver won't move like that base will move.
Yeah, so base. Yeah, I think a base is actually an opportunity right now.
100%.
Damn, I gotta go. And it's funny because I literally started buying Zion like 2 weeks ago. Like I didn't buy Zion before, and right now I'm literally just buying his mosaic stuff to grade, the colored stuff because I like it. I think it's good for PSA to send in. But that's interesting. Um, that's interesting to see actually. So what guys are you essentially looking at? I know like the top guys, but are there any like sneaky like young stars or role players even that you're looking at to pick up and you're thinking, hey, maybe they'll have a good playoff series? There's Donovan Mitchell right there, and we saw Donovan's prices like go up a lot these last 3-4 weeks, right?
Yeah, still weak. Still weak.
Are you on the Shea? Would you rather have Shea or Donovan Mitchell? Because I know that's a debate going on too.
I'm taking Mitch. Mitch has gone to the playoffs 3 times and has averaged, I think, 20 points in each of his 3 years. Compare him to Tatum. I don't understand why he is so cheap compared to Tatum. It doesn't make sense to me. I get it. One of the main things is market. One's on Boston, one's in Utah. I get that. But still, I think he's way too cheap. It's not like Shea is in a big market team either. He's in OKC.
Yeah.
But another guy besides them two that I've been looking at, huge upside, huge risk, is MPJ.
Oh man.
He's one
Those are
guy
so high.
that he could not play. He could play 5
He's
minutes.
expensive right now, dude. I don't get it.
Very.
I don't get it.
Porter?
Yeah, Michael Porter's expensive right now. The dude's only played like what, like
I picked up his base pretty cheap. I don't know how much he's at now, but I picked him up very cheap a couple weeks ago. I got his base for like $8 a base.
raw. I mean, I don't know what price point they're at right now, but I know that they're quite a bit more, I think.
His is just potential. His potential is ridiculous. Can he stay healthy and will the coach give him some minutes?
I feel like that's like a thing. Like if you're right about him, people are gonna be like,
oh yeah. If he does like that one game, he drops like 20, 25, 30. It's not hit that until the next game. There's going to be a very, very nice surge.
Yeah, like I'd say have one or two. Like
Big ones
don't
or
go
the
crazy.
small ones?
A base PSA 10 or a silver PSA 10, you know, just because like
I don't have
yeah, like we don't know what will happen in the playoffs. He hits a game winner.
Yeah.
That
But-
card doubles overnight.
Are there guys, Coleman, that you're kind of like looking at too? Like, is it Shea for you that you think will, is sneaky? Like, are there Tyler Hero? Like, are there any of those types of guys that you're looking at that are like, hey, like, let me, buy a couple of these, put them away, and see what happens?
Not really. There's just not just because I just feel like these guys are gonna play a couple of games and then their season's gonna be over. And so, I'd rather let all that fizzle out because there's so much hype into these cards right now that I'd rather not jump on the train and bank them going up a little bit more because they have some sort of outing in these playoffs. Yeah. I'd rather invest in the blue chip guys right now because their prices aren't going to crumple as much. And then during the off season, or not even the off season, while playoffs are still going on and these guys are getting bumped out and their prices go down, if I want to speculate for beginning of next season, then I can start buying those guys. But I mean, I don't think the risk reward is worth it. Let's just use Michael Porter Jr. as an example. I don't feel like it's worth putting $300 into a silver 10, hoping that he hits a game winner in a game, even though they're going to get bounced in by the second round, and he has like a 20-point game or something. It goes up to 600, let's say. Then what? I make 2x. Or none of that happens because what are the chances of him actually balling out based off of the circumstances? And then all of a sudden he gets bounced out within the first round of the playoffs and it goes down to 200. So like for me, I'd rather just risk it, try and buy it back for 200 because I think the probability is probably like 60, 70% that he's not going to do much and he's going to get bounced out and then I can buy it back cheaper. So I'll go with the probability. I'll go with the higher percentage. To me, the percent that he's going to ball out is a low probability. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that you're making a bet that he will. And I don't think it's a guaranteed bet or anywhere close to 80 or 90% that he's for sure going to ball out. So I'm not going to drop that 300 on it. That's where I'm
I
at.
don't know if you guys just saw, but Oladipo has announced he will not be returning.
Wow.
So that's kind of big for a 5 seed. So whoever matches up against them should take him to the court, I think.
But look at Oladipo. Oladipo is probably going to be he's a free agent this year, right?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Pretty sure he's a free agent. So, I mean, like, he signs with the big team over summer.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's shift a bit. And I know we won't really wanted to talk about this. We're seeing a bunch of, and we have seen a bunch of kind of content creators, video creators, people are putting out podcasts talking about their picks of players. How are you guys kind of feeling about this mass amount of, I guess, media and people coming into play as creators for this hobby and market? As we know, the market just has gone up significantly. So, it's not so much as that their picks have been right. It's just the market in general, right? So how are you guys kind of feeling about everything that's going on content-wise within the hobby and the industry?
Go for it, Shai. You're in it.
All right. I think what it really does is, like, for instance, let's talk about Gary Vee. If you had those Devin Booker cards, it gives you such a great opportunity to shed off of your cards. It is so great for if you have the cards and you sell them. In my eyes, you shouldn't be buying when they post that. It's too late. But I think the main thing that it does is it really centers cards around, because all the new people, they're not going to go look at, I was talking to Mike about this the other day. I was like, hey, I have the Trae Young blue, yellow, green, and then there's like the purple, and there's this and that.
Yeah.
Blue collector isn't going to come and buy a blue, yellow, green, or a purple. They're going to come by and buy the base and the silver. It's as simple as that. And maybe if it's a team color, they'll go buy like a Tatum green, maybe.
Gotcha.
But it's just centering stuff all around. Like Gary Vee is not going to come out and say, everyone go buy Lonnie Walker oranges. That's not happening. And he's going to come out and say, go buy Lonnie Walker base or silver or whatever it is. So It's just centering stuff around base, and that's just going to, and silvers, and that's just going to lead to more volatility and this and that. So I think that's really what's happening. I'm not really listening to it. I am following it because obviously that's what is kind of shifting the market as it is right now. There's no sports. There is some news here and there, but it's really these guys telling other people to snag these players. And if you're on it early, you can make a lot of money by selling. But I wouldn't really follow it too closely. It's just kind of changing the market.
Gotcha. What about you, Coleman?
I just want to say, look, like, nobody knows what's going to go up or what's going to go down, right? Nobody knows for sure. We get lucky and we get right once in a while. But, like, nobody knew that cards were going to go down when COVID hit. I mean, people could have assumed, but nobody knew the season was going to get canceled. Nobody knew card prices would tank. And nobody knew that card prices would rebound and go up like crazy. Nobody knew that for sure.
Yeah.
And yet now that card prices are hotter than they've ever been, everybody's a genius.
Yeah.
So I would just say always proceed with caution and know that anybody who's claiming to be an oracle probably isn't an oracle. Usually it's the people that are humble about their advice and say, look, I think this for many reasons. I don't know for sure, but this is my opinion and here's my reason why. Listen to those type of people about this stuff, because the market is as hot as it's ever been. And, I mean, it's just simple investing advice 101. When the market's really hot, be cautious. When the market is absolutely terrible and tanking, that's when you should be greedy and start buying as much as you can, even though it's really hard to do. So easier said than done. So I would just say, do research, do homework, and don't buy anything that you don't understand. You might miss out, but oh well. Yeah, that's what I got.
I think the problem that we might be seeing is, and whoever people are listening to, whether that's like a YouTuber or somebody's doing a podcast or whatever, is I think the problem occurs when they're not also doing their own research, right? They're not actually putting in their 10, 20, 30, 40 hours or whatever it is of researching on their own. They're just like, oh, somebody said to buy this. I'm gonna buy it, and then I think that's where the issue is starting to occur, because we also are seeing a lot more content creators and for the hobby, which overall I think is a good thing because it brings more awareness, more people come in it. But again, the issue is when somebody says, "Oh, go buy a Markel Fultz Space PSA 10," um, and then they go buy it up. I think that's where the problem arrives. Would you guys kind of agree with that, or?
I just want to say I have watched so many podcasts, and when people get really passionate about a card and a player that I don't know anything about, it literally to this day makes me go on eBay and either buy that card or want to buy that card. But I can tell you from experience that it never does as well as when I put in my own research and really put thought into it myself and make a buy. I never do as well, and sometimes I do really bad when I listen to other people, because by the time I'm listening, they're just saying, yeah, it's a great buy because I bought it and it went up, so it must be a great buy, So I'd always just say, I'm jumping right on your back. Just put in your own research, put in the work. There's no easy way to make money doing this. It's because we put in tons of work and this is our lives.
I would say one big tip that I use, especially when it comes to people that are making buying posts, is I usually do like reverse psychology there. I usually think, why is he posting this? Or why, like, whatever. Like, why is Gary Vee posting a Devin Booker's? There's only like one reason, and it's to pump the market and then sell. He doesn't care about what Devin Booker is looking like in 6 months.
One thing I want to say with Gary though is he hasn't sold any of his cards. For somebody to essentially pump the market, they have to be dumping, right?
How do you know he's not selling him?
The only stuff he sold was Luka's at the National.
Well, how do you know he's not going with like Otia Sports and just selling it, giving it to him for him to sell? Or how do you know? Well, I think he's selling him some way. It may not be directly.
Oh yeah,
I feel like he's.
That's from what I know. I know Lou pretty well. We talk, like, he's literally adamant. Look, Gary hasn't sold literally anything except National. He sold Luka's at $50 a pop. From what I know, that's the thing. And again, like, you got to put yourself in his position. If somebody, like, if I'm worth like whatever 200, 300 mil, right? Which I'm not. But would I want to like pump the sports card market to make 200, 300K? That doesn't look good for my brand, right?
Posted something on TikTok. He was like, my motive in the sports card market isn't to make 1 million in sports cards in the next year, which I will. He said, my motive is to inspire young kids to do this and that. It was something like that. He posted on TikTok like a week ago.
I mean, again, like, from what I know, like, and I'm pretty confident saying the only thing he has sold, and from what I know, is the Lukas at the National. That's pretty much it. Now, that's not me saying like, hey, maybe 6 months from now you'll start selling. I don't know, like, but that's what I know. I don't know if Coleman, you know something different, but
no, I don't. I mean, everything that I've gotten from Gary has been extremely genuine, and from what I know, and I do know a fair amount as well, just like you, Stosh. Like, he's not selling anything. And from the very small interactions I've had with him, compared to other fat cats and compared to other guys that are in this hobby, he is about as genuine and has as much character and integrity as anybody you will ever meet. And therefore, I do not think anything he does is malicious. Now, because he is so in the public eye, it is very easy to draw whatever conclusion you want of him by taking whatever you find and looking at it whatever way you want. Have I been worried that he is trying to pump things or he is trying to manipulate things? Yeah, I've worried about it, but it's only because, we look for the worst in people sometimes because it makes us feel better and it makes us feel safer. So, look, I mean, I don't know for sure. He could be backdooring cards and selling them and stuff. It just, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense why. Like, it doesn't. He could be doing it to help his friends out. I just don't foresee it. I've had a couple of interactions with Gary, and I've had a lot of interactions with a lot of people in high places and stuff. I'm not trying to flex or anything. I'm just saying, I'm saying that I'm using it to compare. And there are a lot of slime balls that have money or that are rich
Yeah.
and think that they're better than everybody else because they have money. Gary Vee is not one of them. He is a very down-to-earth, very real person who really does care about people. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. So within the hobby, we're seeing a negative sort of connotation with Gary. Like that's just the reality right now. A lot of collectors, especially people who call themselves collectors, do not like, I guess, his attention. What needs to happen for that to change, you'd say?
Nothing. They need to adapt. It's as simple as that. What are they gonna do? They're gonna kick him out of not buying cards. That's not realistic. They're gonna keep crying about this and that. Gary is his time will pass. He's not gonna be in cards forever. I don't think I'll be in cards forever either. But he'll leave at some point. So there's nothing they can really do about it until then. You're not gonna be able to force him to leave, I don't think. So I feel like you just gotta adapt at that point.
Like, would we all agree that Gary's influence is a good, positive thing for the hobby? I would say, of course, right?
I would agree.
Gary Vee has made all the people that are mad at Gary Vee, he has made all of them so much money.
Yep.
And yet, because they couldn't make more money off of it, because they didn't own some of the stuff that he pumped, because he posted about stuff he bought, now they're mad at them. That's what I see. Like, I don't see any of these people that, think Gary Vee's a bad guy. I don't see any of them holding any of the cards that Gary Vee had. But if they did have those cards, I doubt they'd be saying bad things about Gary, I think it's just a lot of fear of missing out and people coming from a place of scarcity instead of abundance. And they're not being grateful for the fact that this guy has brought so much new money to the point where it's like all the people that were already in it, if they're not making money off this hobby right now, it's because they've done something wrong.
Do you think that, and this is what I'm kind of noticing, people are upset that they didn't buy things earlier, right? Or they didn't buy more of one thing, and that's why they're like sort of butthurt, right?
Right. So right. But the fact is, if they would have bought it early and then it went up, they'd have been totally fine with that.
Exactly.
In fact, they'd be bragging about it.
Yeah, you can always go back and say, I should have done this, should have done that. That's the easy part. Is like doing it then and like right there. Like, is it smart to go load up on one card or whatever, diversify? Okay, you're most likely going to diversify.
And that's one thing that's so interesting to me because it's like people are like, oh, if I would have bought, whatever card it was last summer at $1,000 or $2,000. Let's say, for example, LeBron Chrome PSA 10 last summer, whatever it was, 2,000, 1,000, right? Like at that time, I remember when I was buying it, that's like putting at that time it's different. Like it's like you're putting in a lot of money for one card.
I don't like talking about 1 year ago about LeBron Topps Chrome refractors. So I don't like that.
But I'm just saying, like, people now.
But if you owned one, you would like talking about it.
Yes, exactly. So, like, yeah, exactly.
But I'm
you
saying,
can't go back and change the decision.
Like, a lot of people are like, oh, if I went and bought like 20 or 30 at that time, I would have been rich. But like nobody, like you'd have, like at that time, it's way different. You're putting your money into it. You don't essentially know what's going to happen.
Unknown. Yeah, you don't know. Is it a smart bet? Is it not? Okay, you can see it panned out to be, but
right. And anybody buying a LeBron Chrome Topps Chrome LeBron was buying it because they liked the card, because they like LeBron, and because they were like, it's a safe buy and it'll probably only go up a little bit
at a
each year.
Yeah.
Nobody bought it saying like, this is going to be worth 10K and I'm buying 10 of them. Nobody did that. So, it's like everyone wants to look back and say, oh, if I had just bought 20, I should have bought more. This, that, the other.
I remember Luka's at 60 over the last summer, right? People are under the assumption, oh, he has a really good season, he can get to like 120, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought when the season did start, his prices would go down. I remember that. That was like the
pullback. Yeah, I remember that.
But again, like it's just interesting to me where people are like, oh, like if I did this, then it's like, yeah, but you had to actually put the money down, like.
Yeah.
There wasn't just a notion that, oh, this price was going to go up at that time. There was a lot of different opinions on what was going to happen.
See, if you look at it. But
I was just going to say, I have people that I was telling buy LeBron James Topps Chrome PSA 10 last year, and I'm not trying to brag, but I was literally telling a couple people, they were like, what should I buy? I was like, this card right here, because it's super safe. It's LeBron James. It'll never go down. It'll only go up. And they were like, okay, it's still a lot of money though, $1,200. Like, I'm not going to do it, but thanks for the advice. Then a year later, they're saying, hey, how come you didn't tell me to buy it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I told you to buy it. And they're like, yeah, I know, but you should have like told me it would go up. And I'm like, what do you want me to do other than tell you, buy the card?
Yeah. Like,
anyway, go ahead, Shai.
People, they go and say, like, a year ago, I could have bought this and that. Okay, why are you thinking? You can't think like that. You got to think now, what could you buy now so that in a year you could think about that? You got to look at it the other way. You're thinking backwards.
So many people now that are like, oh, I'm getting priced out of this. I'm getting priced out of that. But it's like, dude, there's so much opportunity within this hobby.
Yeah.
Coleman,
I see a guy, he grades at PSA all damn day. I see him. It's New England Pieces, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
All I see him post is like these base cards of like LeBron, Giannis that are only a couple bucks. The guy looks at them for a couple minutes, uses a little microfiber, does this and that, sends them to PSA, it's $80. So the priced out excuse is not really valid anymore because there's so many ways they can go and put $5, $10 into something, grade it, get it back for $80, $90, $100, and then keep rinsing and repeating. That's how I got to where I am now. It's as simple as that.
Exactly. And Coleman, I know we talked on the phone a couple days ago, and we were just saying, like, we were talking about the same thing. There's so many opportunities and ways to make money within this hobby. Like, it's so to me, it's so interesting where people are just like, oh, I'm getting priced out. It's like, dude, if you think you're getting priced out, then this isn't the hobby for you because there's so many, like, literally ways to make money.
You can hold the card and wait. You can grade. You can flip it. You get a card, flip it. Get a card, flip it. That's what my boy Roy does all damn day. He gets a 20K card, flips it for two 10Ks, flips it two 10Ks for 12Ks. That's all he does.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways on what works for you, and times will change. Right now, PSA is getting harder. Maybe I'll start grading less if it starts not to pan out as well. Before it was like a gold mine, 90% gem rate. Okay, this and that. But now cards are worth a lot more than they were a year ago.
And I think what we'll
makes sense.
Though, is nines. I think we're going to start to get a premium. Like this is just what I'm saying. Like if they're going to give out more nines, just that being in a slab and a 9, I think we'll get a premium.
See, I don't think so because I don't think it's that hard to get a 9.
We're already seeing it though, Shia. We're already seeing 9s be worth 2x of a raw.
Yeah. But I'm saying I don't think they'll go that much higher. It's not like they're giving out 8s as the norm, and it's a present.
For the money spent, right? The money spent, the time, and everything. It might I think that difference will separate a little bit more. Just what I'm thinking. Well, I mean, we'll see how it pans out. But
you could also say the same thing about the 9.5 versus the PSA 10. You could say that's kind of the same argument. There's just a very big difference between the PSA 10 and everything else. Like the BGS 10 is like king. That's like so rare, and that totally makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But the PSA 10 versus the 9.5, the BGS 9, the PSA 9, like now the PSA 9, BGS 9 are worth more. But if you look at a year ago, you could go buy a Luka Silver and a Luka BGS 9 for almost the same price. Maybe $20, $30 difference, maybe. Just the cost of grading. That's how it was. It was just the cost of grading was the difference at one point. Whatever the raw was, you added the cost of grading, and that's how much the 9 was. But now it's obviously a lot different.
Well, I don't know because I've seen a lot of raw Luka cards that are more like there's like the raw. It's worth more than a 9 because it's not a 9 yet. Therefore, it has a chance of a 10, so it's more expensive. That's what I've always seen, right?
That's why people love buying raw. That's why it's so much easier to sell a raw than a 9. People love that potential or whatever it is in their head.
Right, but now we're seeing 9s that are worth 1.5x a raw.
Yeah.
Because people just want that slab because they don't even want to deal with the fact that it's a raw. They don't want to they don't know anything about grading. They don't want to grade it. Maybe there's something wrong with it. They're worried. So they just want it slabbed, whether it's a 9, a 10, whatever.
That's true. So I think just times have changed. Before there was a higher gem rate, but now it's a lower gem rate, but now PSA 9s are worth more. So it kind of, I guess, evens out, I guess.
Do you guys think that I know we talked about Beckett before, but it's just we're starting to see, and we have seen that PSA is like the slab, especially for modern, right? And for new people coming in, like that's like the grading company that they know essentially. So like, do you think that there's value with like I know we're starting to cross some of our 9.5s to PSA. Like, do you think that we're gonna start to see a shift like with people just trying to cross a bunch of shit into PSA now? Because
That's what I'm gonna start doing actually. But you have to be very careful with that because some of the time it just won't cross.
no, yeah.
Not a guarantee by any means. You
Yeah.
also gotta maybe a quad 9.5 or whatever, but you gotta look at the card still. You gotta compare it still.
Yeah.
But I personally think a min gem cross is very risky. I would definitely pay the premium for the true gem or the true gem plus than buying the min gem and trying to cross. I just don't think that's a very good idea.
Gotcha. What about you, Coleman?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with Shaya. Min gems, a min gem is basically a PSA 9 in PSA's eyes, you know. So
I know, Coleman. We were talking about it. Like, you kind of like the 10 surface when you see it on a Beckett case when you're trying to cross.
mhm.
Do you think that like for people that are watching, do you think that is something that should definitely look for if they're looking for cards to cross? Of course, looking at the card and making sure it's good. But like, what are kind of the subgrades that you're looking for?
You're looking for 10. I mean, 10 surface is a dead giveaway because you got to think if you're trying to cross a card and you're putting min grade 10 on it because you only want a PSA 10, because otherwise they'll just say, you know, okay, it's not a 10, but we'll crack it out of its 9.5 case and put it in a PSA 9. Well, nobody wants that, so you put min grade 10 on it because otherwise it goes in a PSA 10 case or you get your card back.
Yeah.
Well, if they're looking at that case, they have to think that that card in the case is a PSA 10 before they crack it out because you put min grade 10 on it.
Exactly.
So the one thing that they can't really see through the case is the surface. They can see the edges by holding it under light. They can see the corners, and they can obviously see the centering. Surface is the one thing they can't see. So if the BGS subgrade says 10, at least psychologically, that's going to make them feel good about that surface so that they can check out the other subs. So if you're dealing with a min gem plus that has 9 centering and the centering looks actually really good, that could be a good min gem cross candidate with 10 surface, 9 centering, 10 surface, 2 9.5s. So absolutely, like that's something to just look for. Is that what yours is, Shaya?
What are the subs?
Yeah, try and cross it.
It's the same thing.
Well, you would
Did
cross.
you try to cross it?
You would try
I
to
have no
cross
true
with the
idea.
9 centering.
Repetez, s'il vous plaît?
If it looks like 10, if it looks like PSA 10 centering, there's some 9 centerings that look really good.
I think it is. But I don't know. I don't think it's that bad at all.
I mean, would you crack that card? Like if you
No.
Definitely not.
I would not risk that. No.
Oh.
No.
I wanted to see what your answer would be on that.
I might crack it. I might crack it, but I would never tell anybody to crack it.
Yeah, like I
would never.
I sent in 2 cards to cross. One was the Kawhi, which I told you about, all 9.5 subs, and then the other one was a LeBron Topps Pristine Refractor. It had all 9.5 subs and a 10 surface. So I was like, might as well try, see what happens.
Yeah, true gems and true gem pluses are
Yeah.
definitely a go, I think, at PSA.
I mean, we'll see how it goes on those. And as we're getting to the end here, what cards now? And I know we talked about it before, but are there any cards like this week or next week or whatever you're looking to add to your stuff? Any specific cards you're looking for?
Mike, you wanna go?
I'd love to have a Kawhi National Treasures RPA, just because I keep having this dream that the Clippers win it, and I'm like, I wish I had a big Kawhi. So I wouldn't mind getting one of those. I love Luka's, so I'm looking for a Luka Blue out of 199 right now. Every time I get a lead on one, either the guy decides he doesn't want to sell or it gets sold. So those are 2 cards that I'd like to add. But as far as investment-wise, I wouldn't mind pulling in a Giannis just to have some Giannis base covered. And I just think having LeBron, Giannis, and Kawhi covered in one way or another is really smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a kind of standstill, honestly. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for PSA sub to get back. Should come back pretty soon. I may pick up nothing too huge, maybe some smaller stuff for grading. Prism base, just what it is. For grading, I may pick up like a Giannis Select. I was looking at those. Prism rookies are kind of expensive for Giannis as is right now, in my opinion. So I
Yeah.
may go get the Select, kind of a little cheaper option.
Yeah.
Um, just LeBron's, I would say. I know I picked up this a couple weeks ago, the silver PSA 10.
Nice.
That's going to be a trademark card of his, I think. So yeah, just kind of picking and choosing as is. A little this, a little that. So
I know both you guys just mentioned LeBron. What do you think happens if LeBron doesn't win a ring with his price points?
maybe a little dip, but I think it'll be pretty stagnant.
I'm right there with Shia.
Yeah,
I don't think AD will leave the Lakers this offseason. I think he's going to stay. I don't know where he would go.
Let's say he doesn't win a ring, right? It goes down a little bit, then everybody gets hyped back up again about the new season. Space Jam 2 is coming out.
I would buy the dip. If it dips, I'd buy the dip.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
That's what I learned with the Corona thing. Once it dipped, everybody panicked. Everybody. Sasha told me to sell. Mike told it's to sell. I told people to sell. Everybody said sell. Then you waited 3 weeks, and everybody looked at each other like a bunch of fools. Well,
Yeah. And everyone tried. Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Buy the dip.
yeah, sure buy the dip. That's what I learned.
Those were fun times.
Horrible times.
Anyways,
Terrifying.
I appreciate both of you guys for coming on again. I think this is our third episode, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Guys, where can we find you on Instagram? Where can the people follow you?
I am at Steeler Cards on Instagram.
Shia is at. I'm Coleman_cards on Instagram.
Cool. So guys, that's where you can find both Shia and Michael. Again, guys, I appreciate it having you guys on. Hopefully we can make this like a weekly thing because I have fun doing this and hopefully you guys do too. And it seems like the viewers gain a lot of information and are really enjoying it. So guys, if you're watching this, please go follow them. Make sure you like this video. Share it with your friends if they're trying to learn more about cards, and then make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys in the next video.